Hey, AB here, and this is a short video on how to create Foley sounds at home for your film productions and other creative content. If you caught my last video on the 5 basic elements of film, you may recall that Foley is the practice of recording everyday sounds in sync with footage that's already been shot. It's a really important part of the filmmaking process, and it's something that I've always wanted to try at home, so I went ahead and did just that. Let me show you. This scene is from a fantastic short film called The Loyalist, which takes place during the American Revolution. It was written and directed by Bobby Sanseverino, who's not only a super talented guy, but also a good friend of mine. So I was fortunate to get permission to use the footage and recreate the audio any way I saw fit. Let's watch it first. Then afterward, I'll explain how I created all the sounds you heard. Alright, first things first. Whenever I do sound for film projects, I always import a low-res version into Pro Tools because that's the platform that I use when I'm recording audio, editing audio, manipulating audio, pretty much anything that's audio related. Pro Tools is my go-to DAW. Now, I'm not sure how it works in professional Foley circles, but I decided that before I created any specific Foley sounds, I wanted to have music in the background to provide the appropriate emotion of the film. The original score is amazing. It was composed by Rosie Record, who is a talented musician, so I didn't want to try to recreate what she already did very effectively. I really just wanted to come up with something on the fly that reflected what I had in my head when I was watching the footage. I knew that I definitely wanted some kind of a string element, so I opened to analog strings by output, found a patch I liked, recorded a few takes off the cuff, duplicated my performance, chose another patch in analog strings, and blended them together until I got the sound I was looking for. I decided to next deal with what I thought was going to be the hardest task, which is recreating the hey sounds when the guys get up and try to hide from the soldier. I honestly didn't think I was going to be able to do this effectively until I found this guy lying around. That's right, the Scarecrow. He literally sounds like he's stuffed with hay. So I simply held him up to my RE320 microphone, and I made sounds with the Scarecrow as I watched the footage on my screen. I decided to do 3 separate tracks of hay movement, each corresponding to one of the 3 characters in the scene. This way, I could focus on one person's movement at a time and put them together to create a seamless performance. Of course, the opening of the barn door had to be reproduced, and since there's no barn door in this house, I was forced to use a standard door in the basement. I recorded opening it and closing it, turning the knob a bunch of times at various speeds and at various volumes. Then I lined up the door sound I liked with the barn door in the film. Once I had that sound in sync with the visual, I used the factory Pitch 2 plugin in Pro Tools to pitch down the sound of the door in an attempt to make the wood sound heavier. Let's talk footsteps. A lot of Foley artists will tell you that the majority of their time is spent recreating footsteps, and of course there are footsteps in the scene that I showed you. What's cool is that I was actually able to double dip with the Scarecrow and use him for the footsteps as well. However, I wanted the footsteps to sound darker, so I covered the Scarecrow in a towel to dampen the sound, and then I made movements in time with the soldier's steps. There are 2 parts in the scene where I had to use my voice, so that would qualify more as ADR, or automated dialogue replacement, versus Foley. The first occurs right near the beginning of the scene, where the guy says, "Put out that light." The second occurs later on, when the injured guy coughs and has to be muffled. Yeah, that's me too. Last, but certainly not least, there's the rain sound. Now, I totally forgot about rain in this scene until I was reminded when I watched the soldier open the barn door and you actually see rain falling behind, so I had to recreate the rain. My original instinct was to just source that sound from a sound library, but because this is a Foley video, I said, you know what, if I'm gonna make a Foley video, I better learn how to make rain. And so here's what I did. I recorded the water being sprayed from a nozzle in the kitchen sink, and since the sink is metal, it gave me sort of a high-pitched rain sound. Then I went to the laundry area and recorded water splashing onto a sponge in a deep basin, which gave me a much more low-end, hollow type of rain sound. I combined the two, and that is the sound we hear in the scene. And now that you know how I created these Foley sounds, let's watch the clip one more time, just to give you a chance to see how all the elements came together to create one cohesive scene. And that's it. I hope this video gives you some good Foley ideas, and if you have tips of your own, please leave them in the comments below. Thanks again for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. This is AB, and I'll see you next time.